Great. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my 8.24B patch notes. You thought I already did a patch rundown on this patch? I did. And I'm back at it again for a second one. This is, like every year, Riot, similar to many companies, goes on vacation and home leave for the last months of December. So this is the last patch before the new year of next year. So this is what we get before any more changes. This is the state of the game. I want to see what they do with it. So what do they say? Season's Greensall is not technically a patch. Brings one more round of balance stuff to stuff your stockings with. You know, some of the patch notes are light in context, which is because most of the champions change their simple buff for simple nerf spaces. We basically just want a champ or island to be stronger and weaker, significantly changing decision making. Packing and Collier are two exceptions, so we stuck them at the top. Since this is a small patch, we share a quick preview of 9.1. Okay. The first patch of next year. Expect to see a bunch of more buffs to individual marksmen, as well as sizable changes for Ornn and Sejuani for the regular and pro play. Closer in line to each other. We'll keep following up on preseason rune changes. Thanks, that's it for us. Thank you for reading over 72,000 words of patch notes this year. No one did that, dude. It's just me. Okay, don't care about Nexus Blitz. No offense, guys. Akali and Pyke. So these are the two biggest changes in the patch. Akali, champ's really strong, but he's really low win rate when you first play her because it's really difficult to understand how to play her and understand that she snowballs really hard, but requires you to understand her rotations. Even I'm not very good at her, and I played her like probably 5 or 10 games in the last 2 weeks. And I think that she's kind of hard and difficult to play at the beginning, and she becomes a lot more satisfying once you put a lot more games into her. From what I understand, a lot of the arguments about keeping Akali nerfed is her low win rate, but she's actually one of the most busted champs in the game. A lot of that comes from her W being, you can't really counter her W. I think the first nerf to her W last patch was pretty nice, and now what are they doing for it? Now, briefly obscures, opponents can see your outline but not target her before stealthing or re-stealthing, even if enemies don't have true sight. And targeted abilities are uncancelable basic autos, are no longer canceled when a Collier stealths or re-stealths. Oh, the re-stealth timing goes down? And they reverted the 8.24 nerfs. Okay. Huh. You know, this is huge. Targeted abilities and basic attacks. A lot of times when playing Akali, the annoying thing is like when you're mid animation for auto or mid animation for a spell, she'll just re-stealth again, and then it'll be really hard for you to be able to do anything. The fact that she now has additional re-stealth timing for 1 second, which is a super long time, especially early. Even though you're maxing Twilight Shroud second, you're still not getting this to level 13. Yeah, they put a lot of counterplay into her early, so now I think she's a lot easier to gank, as well as shut down and lane in 1v1 matchups, which I think is the correct thing to do. I like where they went with this. I hope it helps a lot to be able to bring her like closer in line. It scales in minutes, not levels. Oh, my bad. Wow. A minute scaling system. That's strange. Why didn't they just scale it to levels? But I guess they wanted it to be consistent regardless if you got ahead or behind with Akali. That's strange. This is really weird. I've never seen a minute scaling ability, but I think that what I'm looking for the college is more counterplanar W, and that's what they gave us. So good stuff. Let's keep going. Pyke, MR growth decreased. Q deals less pass-through damage to minions and monsters. R execute threshold decreased late. League Assassin Sword has been a problematic mid laner despite relatively reasonable performances in bot lane. Nerfs below are all tailored to hit mid Pyke hardest, whether by the strengths mid laners need or by the strengths Pyke had an easier time accruing mid level scaling. Correct. So the biggest problem with Pyke is that his ulti is level scaling, which is really strange. And so which encourages him to be higher level than the rest of his teammates because his ulti would do insane amounts of damage, right? What happened here is they ended up nerfing a lot of his late game damage. Like late game ulti damage, you no longer can wave clear as easily with Q, and you get less MR, so you're easier to get harassed on by the enemy mid laner, which is usually a mage. He's gonna be pretty bad. Just off this, like this alone is the biggest thing. Sure you're getting Tiamat, but Tiamat is getting nerfed this patches, right? On top of Bone Skeeter getting nerfed, he's going to be a lot harder to play mid. I think generally speaking, you only want to play Pyke mid right now. Um, to be able to beat up melee matchups. I still think he does well or decently well into those stuff like I'd play into stuff like Fizz, right? Because a lot of the melee matchups can't shove as well, and he's able to kind of still harass well with his Q electric Q auto combo. So he's maybe a little bit playable, but I would say a lot less now. After this nerf and the Tiamat nerf, I know I'm gonna get to pretty soon. Simple buffs. Caitlyn. Oh, they saw my match history and they're like, we need to help this guy. Q base damage increased, pass-through damage decreased, Q range increased. You need some lane power on the first hit. Okay. So if you're getting a solo Q on the enemy champion, you're gonna do a lot more damage. Got it. Or like a decent amount of damage. Oh, this is so nice. When I play this champion, her ulti range at level 1, you just see me miserably walk up and try to hit people at level 1 and 2. Having 3500 range is so helpful. Makes you feel like I can actually contribute to the fight, and it's actually like a sniping mechanic as opposed to a slightly follow-up mechanic or a slight harass mechanic, you know? This is actually so nice. And this is just okay. Honestly, she probably needs more, a little bit more to help her out, but I'm very happy with just this alone. She's probably not going to be top tier. I think Ezreal is just super crazy right now. And Lucian are just too good at the moment in the current state of the game. So unless I see much more nerfs to them, I don't think we'll be seeing too much Caitlyn. But I think that she's okay being like rather average in terms of power level. Corki, our damage increased. Wow. This is really dangerous to upgrade his R. It's really, really dangerous. Corki is really famous for being a champion that's like I remember when he was meta and he was a champion that no one wanted to play against because he's a solo poke comp by himself. When you have buffs to things like this, I'm really interested if you'll see a lot of Corki because an ulti buff like this wouldn't 15 base damage, 20 base damage wouldn't matter on a lot of champions. But Corki's ulti is something he spams the entire game. Like he has 7 charges, just unloads on people. This is actually a considerable buff to his damage. I'll probably try him out mid lane. I like it though. I think he's relatively weak. I don't see much of Corki or any Corki right now mid lane. Usually the problem with Corki is the fact that he needs at least 2 items, if not more, to do well. And when you have someone who doesn't do well up until that point, usually it's not a very good champion. But this might be interesting for sure. This will help out his like 6 spike a lot. Singed, base health increase, fling. They really buffed Singed? Wow! His fling does 2% more max health. You max it second. So it'll be really nice for levels 1 through a lot, because like 1 through 10 is a buff. Wow, they actually buff Singed? That's crazy. They really need a buff Singed? I feel like Tiamat nerf is kind of a Singed buff by itself. But I don't play much Singed, so I can't really say how important it is. I just think that these are pretty nice for him. These will help. 30 base health in this, definitely helpful. Sorry, I can't really give too much rest on this. I just do not play top lane that much and do not play against Singed or as Singed ever. Tristana, E damage increased. Okay, so they're making it so the base damage goes. Oh, it scales to with 0.2 bonus AD. And it does 22 more maximum damage. It's pretty small, to be honest. I don't think Triss is gonna see any play right now. Like this kind of stuff is nice, but it's just honestly fairly small. Maybe the mid game's okay, but the problem is like you getting there is gonna be difficult as Tristana because she's not gonna be able to lane against Lucian at the moment, or or Draven, or even Ezreal will still be problematic for her. So I'm not. Tristana can lane against Ezreal. She just shoves in. I don't think this will change anything. I think right now AD still need to be stronger earlier than Triss like kind of gets off the ground. So this is any buff is nice to these ADs, but this isn't gonna do much. Varus. Okay, Varus is a really interesting champion. So Varus has always been a champion that he's a utility-oriented AD carry, similar to Ashe, but tends to have stronger lane presence. And so he'll see a lot more play just off small buffs because he tends to do also really well with attack speed-oriented builds like Bork and Rageblade. So what did they give? 21% missing health. What the fuck? What? They increased the base damage by 50 here early, but this is crazy. Are you serious? That's a 7%. They buffed it by 50%, right? Because they added another 7%. That's actually a lot. That's a ton of whatchamacallit, extra execute damage. Especially because when you're playing Varus, you're probably going to be leveling W second anyways, because you're going more. This encourages like or buffs the attack speed oriented Varus, which you're maxing W first, or actually it's more than likely second. You're going E into W, so you're spiking either 13 or you're spiking. You could probably spike at 9 if you want to max W first. Now this is actually just so much damage. If you just pump them off a chain of corruption into auto WQ, you can chunk people. Like you will kill people inside the rotation. Surprisingly big buff for Varus in my opinion. I think he'll see play. I don't think he's that bad, and I think a lot of people would end up dropping him because they wanted to play other ADs. But Varus actually fits the current curve of the game is like very early mid game focused. Varus is a champion that fits that curve very well. And especially because he's one of the few ADs that provides initiation and utility, I think that you'll be seeing a lot more of him soon. Warwick, base AD increase, giving Warwick a bit more bite. So they nerfed Graves by 3 AD. They said, Graves got nerfed by a lot. The thing about his win rate like lost a lot. The thing about Graves is that Graves can actually AoE and clear the jungle. I think Warwick gets this because Tiamat's getting nerfed down here, right? Yes. I don't think this compensates at all. I think this actually makes Warwick kind of suck. It might be something in a situation where you have to go AD Warwick now, which I think most people are doing anyways. But he's definitely gonna be in a worse spot in my opinion. Outside of his very first, like extra AD does help because he has an on hit. Not on hit. His Q is an on hit, so he just like doubles his auto Q damage, right? And he does auto a ton. So it is a little bit helpful, but I don't think it makes up for the fact that like he just doesn't have wave clear, to be honest. And I don't think Warwick's a very top tier jungler in the first place. I think you'll probably need more compensation buffs as we approach next patch. Forbidden Idleline. Cooldown reduction increased, heal and shield power increase on its upgrades. Earlier in the season, enchanters were outperforming their mage and tank support counterparts, so we nerfed the Idleline and the duration of individual shield abilities. Since the tables have turned, enchanters are the ones struggling to make an impact. We're nearing half of our early pass with shield duration nerfs, ensuring large shields are still fair to play against. Okay, so they end up giving 10% CDR here. 20. Crucible got buffed by 5%. I mean, Redemption is already super good. Like everyone buys these 3 items, right? And this is the situational item. I think it's nice. I guess right now no one's really okay. My biggest problem with this is like no one's playing like Janna, Sona, right? These are the champions. Are not many people are playing those champions. These are champions that see a lot more play during season. Even Riot said on Beyond the Rift, as well as in other places, that the preseason has a lot of people playing carry supports that tend to fall down a lot when the normal season actually comes up. So I find that those are champions that tend to push out enchanter supports. But when enchanter supports come back, I think they naturally come back with the preseason ending in the first place. So you have to be a little bit careful with buffing enchanters too much. I think this is fine. I think there are some weak ones, a lot of weak ones, and a lot of them are kind of pushed out by champions like Alistar. So I hope I see an Alistar nerf lower down. I forgot if I did, but it's fine. I think they are a little bit weak, and you know what? They do deserve a little bit of love. I think that's okay. Simple nerfs, Alistar. Okay, So when I found out that Alistar's E at level 1 does 165 base damage, or like 155 damage at level 1, I was like, what the I did not realize Alistar has the strongest ability at level 1, like almost in the game, which is insane. Which is why he keeps killing people at level 3, 4, and 5, because he just does too much damage with a lot of it is off his trample. I think nerfing the trample is correct. It's actually crazy how much damage it does, especially early. So I think that very good on Riot to hit on this, because yeah, it's actually nuts how much damage he does. He was by far the best champion in the game, and you know what? He's still gonna be a great ass champ. He's still gonna be like S tier support champion. But I think lowering some of his ability to just one hit the other player at level 3 is nice. Q Cassia's OP, like straight up. Her Luden's build with Comet is getting a lot of traction, and it's just too powerful. So what do? They increased the mana cost on Q by quite a bit, 20 mana at level 5 if you're maxing it first, and they lowered the base damage by 20, which is a lot. So they're making it so that, you know, you can't. It's just straight up a nerf, and I think she needs it. And you know what? I think she's still gonna be good. I think the fact that you can get a comment on every 2 Qs because it decreases the cooldown when it ticks on people is incredibly powerful on her, and people are still going to be maxing Q, and she's still going to be good. Cassid, this champion should never have gotten buffed in the first place. Let's be real. For some reason, Riot randomly buffed this champion's ulti by 1 second way back when, and when he was already pick worthy, like he could already be picked, and they've still not reverted his buffs, and now they're just adding nerfs onto his base stats. But to be honest, like, I think it's good and smart to nerf his laning, but this isn't gonna be enough. And I think that like they really misshot the ball on scoping out Caston's strength, because he's a champion that shouldn't be blind pickable. Like, this is not a champion you ever want to encourage your first pick to be like, yeah, I want to play Caston here. But right now, it's possible to be able to do that. And I think that that's both a tragedy and a fault of Riot. So I think that nerfing him, especially while he's in his lane before he gets, like, you know, his level 16 pop off, is really important. But yeah, I think Riot did too much, honestly, before, and now they're just trying to pull power away when he was already playable back then. Sure, this is gonna help. This is really nice, and he probably is gonna need more nerfs. Still, I think that he's still too blind pickable for what he should be, in my opinion. Nico, Q damage decreased. Yeah, okay, she was too strong. And to be honest, I'm surprised they're not nerfing other stuff. I think her AP ratio on her ulti is what people talk about. And I look at her ulti cooldown and I think, wow, you know, for an AoE CC ulti, it's an 80-second cooldown. I think 90, it's like really, really short. I'm surprised that didn't get nerfed as well. But you know what? Q's her like main harass ability. I think that nerfing that matters a lot for both her wave clear and her harass. So I think it's a good nerf. It's only by 10. It's like, I guess she's still gonna be good, in my opinion, for sure. The one thing is, I don't think Nico is as strong as people first thought. I think when I first came out, people were saying Nico's OP, yeah. But now I think that she's got adequate outplay, like counterplay. Like, if you're a gap closing champion, then she really can't peel. Like, her ulti shouldn't be used as a peeling tool, because it's usually there to set up a kill, but she can't really peel people off at all outside of her ulti. So I think that, you know what? Good nerf. Maybe she might need more, but I think surprisingly she's more balanced than I expected. Tiamat. So actually, we probably already assumed that, or guessed that this is coming for a while. I think giving wave clear is a priority stat, or priority like function of a champion. When you're looking for team comps, a lot of times you're wondering, okay, where do we get wave clear from if they siege? And a lot of times, clearing the wave should be something you think about. Tiamat makes it so you don't think, and I think that it should have been something that should have been nerfed a long time ago, and it wasn't. So increasing the gold by 125, you know, I think is a good way to increase the cost of the item. People are still gonna go Tiamat because that's how important wave clear is, on a lot of the core builds on champions. They're not gonna like having to spend 1325 gold, but you know what? They have to, because I feel they're gonna have to, because it's just gonna be more balanced this way, in my opinion. I think that people are getting wave clear and the damage at a luxury price, and then Riot finally realized that, you know what, this is too overtuned. Zeke's this item's been overtuned for a long time, actually. Every champion goes this item if possible. It's a lot of what makes initiating tank champions really strong. So they burn for 20% less damage. Like, look at this, they nerfed the damage by what, 40%? Isn't that insane? And you know what, the item's still gonna be good. I think this Zeke's has been overtuned for a long time and no one really talks about it. But thank God that they ended up nerfing this item. I think this and the Alistar nerf will help a lot to be able to bring down some of this. Because right now, if you like combo in an ulti, you pretty much one hit anyone. And I think that like, and even in the mid late game, I think it's a little nuts. So I agree with this nerf wholeheartedly. Agree with the T-Mat nerf. I think if the entire patch notes were these nerfing this, these what should we call it? These nerfs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If the entire patch notes were just these 6 nerfs, I would say they had a good patch, legitimately. Because I think everything here was a problem, or is a problem. On top of the fact that they ended up buffing some other stuff that helps them out and nerfing like Akali, I think that overall the patch looks pretty good. Oh, I missed the outer turret stuff. They're increasing resistance, so outer turrets just aren't paper once plane falls. I think that's okay. You know, I don't really care about this. I don't think it matters too much. It's a feels bad thing as opposed to a largely impactful thing. If that makes sense. So I don't think this nearly has as much influence as the rest of the stuff. I really liked that they ended up nerfing both of these and nerfing everything everything that you saw above here. I'm really interested to see Varus, to see if you see any more play with Varus, as well as Corki. Corki's a really interesting champion. I'm gonna try playing him a little bit more and seeing what I can do with him. But overall, I think good patch. Really solid nerfs. Really solid nerfs. I'm really happy with this. And if you're a Warwick main, I'm sorry for you.